Every morning before the world rushes in, before the noise of responsibility and expectation floods your mind, there is a sacred moment, a space where your soul can breathe. It is in that moment that the words of Jeremiah 29 rise like a gentle sunrise over the landscape of your heart. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. These words are not just ancient scripture, they are an invitation, a reminder, a divine whisper telling you that your life is not random, your journey is not accidental, and your very breath is woven with intention. When you awaken and choose to begin your day wrapped in the energy of this promise, you become more than just someone moving through hours. You become a participant in your destiny, a conscious co-creator with the one who designed you with purpose. To start your day with Jeremiah 29 is to open your spirit to possibilities that may have been obscured by yesterday's fears, last week's disappointments, or the echoes of old failures. It is choosing to stand in the truth that no matter what happened before, God's plan has never been canceled. It remains intact, waiting for you to align with it. Hope is not an emotion you stumble into, it is a decision you make every morning. So many people wake up rehearsing their doubts, replaying their regrets, and reinforcing their limitations. They stretch their bodies, but they do not stretch their faith. They walk into the day carrying burdens that were never meant to be packed into the suitcase of their spirit. But you, by choosing to start with Jeremiah 29, you choose something higher. You choose to root your morning, not in your circumstances, but in your divine identity. You choose to declare that the future is not something to fear, but something to step into with expectation. When you rise each day and breathe in these words, something inside you shifts. Suddenly, obstacles lose their power to intimidate you because you know they are not permanent fixtures. They are temporary conditions on the way to your purpose. Suddenly, setbacks stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like preparation. You begin to recognize that every closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. Every delay was not denial, it was refinement. And every unanswered question was not a void, it was a place where trust was being strengthened. Jeremiah 29 teaches you not to cling to the illusion of control, but to rest in the certainty of guidance. There is a plan for you, and it is unfolding even when you cannot see it. Some of the most profound movements of God happen behind the scenes, in the places of silence, in the seasons when nothing appears to be changing. But the unseen is often the birthplace of the miraculous. Seeds grow in the dark before they rise into the light. And so do you. Starting each day with this promise realigns the inner compass of your soul. The world may try to pull you in different directions, toward fear, toward worry, toward self-doubt. But when you anchor your morning in the truth of God's plan, you develop spiritual equilibrium. You stop swaying with the storms of life because you know the storm doesn't write your destiny, God does. And His script for your life is filled with hope. Hope is the oxygen of the spirit. Without it, your soul suffocates beneath anxiety, restlessness, and despair. But with it, you rise above circumstances that once felt impossible. Hope is not naive optimism. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is the deep knowing that everything is being worked out for your ultimate good, even when the process feels uncomfortable. It is trusting that the author of your life has already written chapters you have not yet walked into. And those chapters contain breakthroughs, relationships, opportunities, and moments that exceed anything you have imagined. When you begin your day with hope, your choices change. You stop making decisions out of fear, and you start making them out of faith. You stop saying, "I can't," and you start asking, "What if this is part of the plan?" You stop shrinking back, and you begin stepping forward. Every act of courage becomes an act of agreement with God's purpose for you. Purpose is not something you discover once and keep forever. It is something you awaken to, day after day. It shifts, deepens, expands, and the only way to stay aligned with it is to stay aligned with the one who designed it. When you speak Jeremiah 29 into your morning, You tune yourself into that divine frequency. You become aware of synchronicities, small signs, and subtle nudges that guide you toward the next step. You realize that nothing is trivial. Every interaction, every challenge, every moment holds meaning. Life becomes less about surviving and more about unfolding. Many people wander through life feeling lost because they are disconnected from their source. They try to manufacture purpose, chase validation, or search for meaning in temporary things. But you cannot find lasting direction without the one who crafted your path. You cannot walk confidently when you are guided only by your own limited vision. When you reconnect with God's plan at the beginning of each day, confusion loosens its grip. Uncertainty becomes less threatening. You stop feeling like you must figure everything out today. You only need to follow the step illuminated before you. There is freedom in releasing the need to know everything. There is peace in trusting that God sees what you cannot. You may not know how your dream will unfold, but He does. You may not understand why you had to walk through certain valleys, but He does. You may not see how the broken pieces of your life can become something beautiful, but He does. And starting your day with this scripture reminds you that you are not alone in this journey. You are not an abandoned traveler wandering through chaos. You are guided. You are loved. You are held. So when the sun rises, give yourself permission to slow down. Sit with the words. Let them fill the empty spaces of your heart. Let them release the tension you've been holding in your spirit. You have been carrying too much, worrying too much, trying too hard to control every outcome. But God's plan does not require your panic. It requires your presence, not your perfection, just your participation. When you open your morning with this awareness, the energy of your day shifts. Conversations become opportunities, tasks become expressions of purpose, challenges become invitations to trust. You begin to sense that you are part of something larger, something sacred, something orchestrated with love. And when you meet moments of frustration or disappointment throughout the day, as everyone does, you return to the promise. You remind yourself, there is a plan for me. I may not see it yet, but it is unfolding. This is not denial, it is spiritual maturity. It is choosing to align with truth instead of emotions. Emotions fluctuate like weather, but divine truth is constant. Some days you will feel the plan clearly. Other days you will feel lost. But every day you return to Jeremiah 29, your faith muscles grow stronger. You become more grounded, more centered, more aware of your worth. You stop measuring your progress by how perfect your day looks and begin measuring it by how aligned your heart feels. Life is not always a straight path. Sometimes the plan leads you through detours that feel confusing. Sometimes it leads you into seasons of waiting, where everything feels slow and silent. And yet, those are often the seasons that shape you the most. Waiting is not a pause in your purpose, it is preparation for it. Delay is not dismissal. Slow does not mean stopped, and silence does not mean absence. So when you begin your day with this scripture, you learn to honor the process. You stop rushing God. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You stop assuming that your story should look like someone else's. You begin embracing that you are uniquely crafted, uniquely guided, uniquely blessed. Jeremiah 29 is more than a verse. It is a daily realignment. It is a reminder that hope is not something you receive passively. It is something you step into intentionally. Purpose is not something you chase. It is something you uncover by walking in faith. And God's plan is not something you guess. It is something you trust. Every morning you have a choice. You can wake up and let your history define your day, or you can wake up and let God's promise define your future. You can choose fear, or you can choose faith. You can choose self-doubt, or you can choose divine alignment. And when you choose Jeremiah 29, you choose the path that leads toward expansion instead of contraction, toward courage instead of hesitation, toward peace instead of turmoil. You are not here by accident. You were not created to drift through life without meaning. There is a plan engraved into the very structure of your being. And when you awaken each morning with this truth, you become unstoppable. Not because of your strength, but because you are aligned with a strength beyond comprehension. And as you move through the hours of your day with this truth resting gently in your spirit, something remarkable begins to happen. You start to recognize that life is not pushing against you as much as it is shaping you. Every encounter, every interruption, every unexpected change in direction carries a thread of divine intelligence. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this moment teaching me? How is this guiding me into the plan that has already been written for me?" The shift in perspective is subtle, but its impact is profound. It transforms you from a passive observer of your life into an active participant in God's unfolding design. When Jeremiah 29 becomes the lens through which you see your day, even discomfort takes on new meaning. You begin to understand that discomfort is often the birthplace of growth. It stretches you, moves you, awakens parts of you that would otherwise remain dormant. Discomfort is not an enemy. It is a companion guiding you toward deeper strength, deeper wisdom, and deeper trust. So when a door closes unexpectedly, instead of collapsing into discouragement, you take a breath and say, "There is a plan. This is guiding me." When a challenge appears, instead of retreating, you stand your ground with faith, knowing you are supported. When life feels uncertain, you lean into hope with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are not navigating the journey alone. And as you carry this mindset into your daily life, you begin to embody a presence that is both unshakable and peaceful. People will notice it. They may not be able to explain it, but they will feel it. An energy in you that is rooted, steady, and calm. This is the energy of someone who trusts in something greater than circumstances. It is the energy of someone who wakes up each day and allows God's plan, not fear, to guide their steps. Without even trying, you become a source of peace for others. Your life becomes a silent invitation for them to seek their own alignment, their own connection, their own hope. But this alignment requires intention. It requires choosing each morning to return to the promise, because the world will try to pull you away from it. The world will try to convince you that you are alone, that things are falling apart, that your dreams are too far away. Fear whispers loudly. Doubt disguises itself as logic. Worry masquerades as responsibility. And before you know it, the mind becomes a battlefield. That is why, starting why. Our day with Jeremiah 29 is not just helpful, it is necessary. It becomes your shield, your anchor, your spiritual grounding. Every time you choose to begin your morning with these words, you train your mind to focus on truth rather than noise. You teach your heart to remain open instead of guarded. You cultivate resilience because hope is a powerful force. It rebuilds you from the inside out. It fills the empty spaces where fear once lived and replaces them with faith. Faith is not the absence of uncertainty, it is the refusal to be defined by it. Faith is looking at a path you cannot fully see and choosing to walk anyway. Faith is hearing God's promise and believing it even when life looks contradictory. And that faith is strengthened every single time you rise and realign with the plan spoken over your life. Some mornings you will feel fully connected. Your spirit will rise with clarity, peace, and expectancy. Other mornings you may feel heavy, distracted, tired, or overwhelmed. But those mornings are the most important ones. Those are the mornings when your spirit needs the reminder the most. It is easy to trust the plan when everything is falling beautifully into place. It takes deeper spiritual maturity to trust the plan when life feels unpredictable. So if you wake up and feel distant from hope, do not see it as a failure. See it as an invitation to return, to breathe, to listen, to reconnect. God's plan does not retreat when you struggle. His presence does not disappear when you feel depleted. The promise remains, waiting for you to step into it again. As you deepen this practice, you become more aware of how the divine communicates. You begin to notice small moments of alignment, serendipities, coincidences, unexpected blessings, sudden insights. You begin to recognize that those nudges you feel throughout the day are not random thoughts. They are guidance. The idea that pops into your mind at just the right time. The conversation that gives you clarity. The opportunity that arrives when you least expect it. The door that opens after months of waiting. The peace that settles into your heart for no logical reason. These are signs that you are walking in alignment with the plan spoken over you. Life becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about flowing with divine timing. You stop begging for things to work your way and begin trusting that they will work the right way. You stop demanding answers and begin embracing the mystery. You stop clinging to what is familiar and begin inviting what is destined. This shift allows you to move through life with grace. You stop pushing against the current and start allowing the current to carry you toward your purpose. And as this inner transformation continues, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop viewing yourself through the lens of your past mistakes, old wounds, and outdated self-beliefs. You begin seeing yourself through the lens of the plan, worthy, capable, chosen, guided, significant. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces that no longer serve you. You stop apologizing for your gifts, your calling, your growth. You begin standing taller, not out of arrogance, but out of recognition. Recognition that your existence is intentional. Recognition that your path is sacred. Recognition that you are here not to merely survive, but to fulfill a purpose that has been written into the universe long before you arrived. And with this recognition comes responsibility, not the heavy, burdensome responsibility that overwhelms the spirit, but the gentle responsibility of showing up. Showing up for your growth, showing up for your purpose, showing up for your healing, showing up for your alignment. God's plan invites your participation, not your perfection. The plan D does not require you to be flawless. It requires you to be present. So each morning as you sit with Jeremiah 29, let it soften the places in your heart that have grown resistant. Let it soothe the areas where you've been holding tension. Let it quiet the worries that have been speaking too loudly. And then let it remind you to step courageously into your day. Step with intention, step with openness, step with faith. Step with trust that everything you encounter today is woven into a larger tapestry that you cannot yet see. There will be moments when the plan stretches you, times when you feel like you are being pulled beyond what feels comfortable. But stretching is not breaking, it is strengthening. Sometimes God's plan calls you out of what is familiar so you can grow into what is destined. Sometimes He removes what you thought you needed to reveal what you truly need. Sometimes He delays what you want so He can give you something far better. And sometimes He allows discomfort to redirect you toward alignment. Every spiritual journey includes chapters that don't make sense while you're living them. But when you start each day grounded in the promise of Jeremiah 29, you begin trusting that clarity often comes later. Some answers reveal themselves slowly. Some breakthroughs arrive unexpectedly. Some miracles happen over time. But they always come. Because the plan is not accidental. It is divinely structured. So as you walk through your day, remind yourself that you are allowed to release the weight of trying to make everything perfect. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to trust. You are allowed to rest in the knowing that God is already ahead of you, arranging, guiding, preparing. You are allowed to believe that your life is moving in the right direction even on the days when it feels like nothing is happening. Transformation is often subtle. Growth is often quiet. Breakthroughs often begin in unseen places. There will be moments when you question the path, when doubt rises, when fear tries to whisper that nothing is changing. Those moments are not signs that you've fallen off the plan. They are part of the plan. Because every time you choose to realign with hope, you grow stronger. Every time you choose faith over fear, you rise higher. Every time you choose to trust in God's timing rather than your own, you deepen your spiritual maturity. And every time you remind yourself of the promise in Jeremiah 29, you strengthen the foundation of your spirit. You will notice that your relationships begin to shift. You will be drawn to people who nurture your growth, support your purpose, and mirror your alignment. You will begin to release relationships that drain you, confuse you, or pull you away from peace. This is not losing people, it is gaining clarity. It is making room for those who are part of your divine journey. It is recognizing that not everyone is meant to walk with you into the next chapter of your life. Some relationships were meant for a season, others for a lesson, and a few for a lifetime. Starting your day with Jeremiah 29 helps you discern the difference. And as your clarity deepens, your sense of purpose becomes more natural. You may not have all the details, but you will feel the direction. You will be guided toward conversations, decisions, opportunities, and environments that resonate with your spirit. This guidance is gentle, but unmistakable. It pulls you toward what feels true. It nudges you when you start drifting. It comforts you when you feel uncertain. It strengthens you when you grow weary. And through it all, the promise remains, a hope and a future. And as you continue to move through each day with the promise of hope woven into your awareness, you start to feel a quiet transformation happening within you. You become more aware of what resonates with your spirit and what does not. You begin to sense when something aligns with the divine plan and when something pulls you away from it. This intuitive awareness deepens the more you return to the words that anchor your mornings. Jeremiah 29 becomes not just a promise you read, but a vibration you live in, a frequency that reorients your entire being. This alignment creates a kind of inner spaciousness. You stop feeling rushed. You stop feeling like you must race against time. Instead, you begin to sense divine timing as a living, breathing presence guiding your every move. You begin to trust that the moments that feel delayed are actually moments that protect you. You begin to feel that the opportunities that seem out of reach are being aligned for you behind the scenes. Trust becomes a natural state rather than something you force. Hope becomes something you carry effortlessly rather than something you struggle to hold on to. What begins to fade is that old habit of assuming the worst. Suddenly, you are no longer waking up with dread, fear, or anxiety about what might go wrong. Instead, you begin waking with curiosity. What might unfold today? What unexpected blessings might find their way to me? What insight might rise within me? What part of God's plan might reveal itself in a way I didn't expect? This shift from dread to expectancy is one of the most powerful transformations you will ever experience. It changes the way you see everything. Even the smallest details of your day take on a new glow. The way the morning light spills through your window, the quiet feeling before responsibilities begin, the gentle rhythm of your breath, the subtle moments of gratitude that rise without effort. These are no longer background noise. They become sacred signals that you are part of something purposive, whole, and meaningful. Life becomes less about what you are trying to force and more about what you are learning to receive. And in this receiving, you begin to notice changes in your emotional landscape. Emotions that once overwhelmed you begin to soften. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond with intention. Instead of spiraling into fear, you return to the promise, there is a plan for me. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you anchor yourself in the truth that you are guided. This emotional stability does not come from pretending everything is perfect. It comes from knowing that even the imperfect moments are part of the plan. It comes from understanding that nothing is wasted. Every experience shapes you, prepares you, and ushers you closer to your purpose. There will be moments when the plan feels distant. Moments when you feel like you're walking through fog, unsure of the next step. Moments when you feel like you're waiting longer than you expected. But these moments are not signs that you've been forgotten. They are invitations to deepen your trust. When the path is unclear, your faith becomes the guiding light. When the future feels hidden, your hope becomes the bridge that carries you forward. And when your spirit feels weary, the promise becomes the place where you rest. Sometimes the most profound parts of the plan unfold in silence. When nothing seems to be happening outwardly, everything may be shifting inwardly. You are growing roots. You are building strength. You are cultivating resilience. You are developing a deeper connection to God's voice. And although it may feel slow, it is in these quiet seasons that you gain what you will need for the chapters ahead. Every future blessing has a preparation period, and nothing in your journey is accidental. You will also begin to notice that your mind becomes more disciplined. Thoughts that once spiraled into negativity lose their power as you train your consciousness to return to truth. You begin catching yourself when old patterns try to reappear. You interrupt them with faith, You override them with hope. You replace them with the promise that the future prepared for you is not one of harm, but one of prosperity. Prosperity of the spirit, prosperity of peace, prosperity of purpose. You begin cultivating a mental environment where negativity cannot thrive. The soil of your mind becomes rich with possibility, and as your inner world transforms, your outer world begins to shift as well. Opportunities flow more naturally. Ideas emerge more effortlessly. The right people begin to enter your life, people who align with your purpose, who speak to your soul, who uplift your journey. These connections do not feel forced. They feel guided. You recognize them not by logic, but by resonance, and you understand that these relationships are part of the divine plan that has been unfolding all along. You also begin letting go more easily. Letting go of what no longer aligns with your growth. Letting go of expectations that once created stress. Letting go of timelines that kept you confined. Letting go of people who drain your spirit. Letting go of beliefs that once limited your expansion. Because when you trust the plan, you no longer cling out of fear. You open your hands. You release. You allow. And in this allowing, you make space for what is meant for you. Letting go does not mean losing, it means rising. Rising beyond old versions of yourself, beyond old narratives, beyond old attachments. You begin to understand that the plan requires spaciousness. The more you release, the more God can pour into you. The more you surrender, the more you are aligned. The more you trust, the more you are transformed. This transformation becomes evident in the choices you make. You begin choosing peace over chaos. You begin choosing growth over comfort. You begin choosing purpose over distraction. You begin choosing alignment over approval. These choices reflect your deepening connection to the promise spoken over your life. They reflect your readiness to grow into the person you were designed to become. And because you start your days with a sense of purpose, you begin to move with intention. Your steps feel more deliberate. Your words feel more meaningful. Your actions feel more aligned. You no longer move through life unconsciously. You move with awareness. You move with clarity. You move with spiritual maturity. The plan becomes less of an idea and more of a lived reality. You will notice that each day carries unique lessons. Some days will teach you patience. Others will teach you courage. Some will teach you humility. Others will teach you gratitude. These lessons are not random. They are part of the refinement that prepares you for the future waiting for you. When you begin your day with Jeremiah 29, you recognize these lessons for what they truly are. Steps on your divine path, and as your awareness expands, you begin to develop a deep sense of gratitude for the journey itself. Not just the victories, but the challenges. Not just the blessings, but the lessons. Not just the clarity, but the uncertainty. Gratitude becomes a daily practice, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is purposeful. Gratitude opens your heart and aligns you with the plan in ways nothing else can. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what is unfolding. It shifts your mindset from fear to faith. It shifts your energy from heaviness to abundance. The more gratitude you practice, the more present you become. The more present you become, the more receptive you are. And the more receptive you are, the more the plan reveals itself, not all at once, but in waves. In whispers, in moments that feel like divine confirmations. You begin to see life as a conversation between you and God, one in which every experience is a message, every challenge a lesson, every blessing a sign. Your spirit becomes attuned to these signals. You begin to move with spiritual sensitivity. You feel guided even when the path is unclear. You feel held even when you walk through difficulty. You feel strengthened even when you feel tired. This inner knowing becomes unshakable because it is rooted in truth, not circumstance. Circumstances change, but truth remains. And the truth is that there is a plan for you, one of hope, one of purpose, one of divine destiny. This truth empowers you to dream again, to imagine possibilities you once dismissed, to believe in outcomes you once doubted, to pursue callings you once resisted. Hope reignites the spark within your soul. It reminds you that the future is not something to fear, but something to welcome. It reminds you that your life is far from over. There are chapters ahead filled with breakthroughs, blessings, love, purpose, clarity, and joy. And each morning as you return to the promise, you open yourself to the unfolding of these chapters. You position yourself to receive. You position yourself to grow. You position yourself to align. You position yourself to rise. The plan becomes something you do not just believe in. You begin to embody it. You begin to feel it moving through your day, speaking through your intuition, unfolding through your experiences. You realize that the plan is not just about a destination. It is about who you become along the journey. It is about your transformation, your awakening, your expansion. And every day you choose to start with Jeremiah 29, you deepen that transformation. You awaken more fully, you expand more naturally, you align more faithfully, and as you move deeper into this journey of beginning. Each day with the promise spoken in Jeremiah 29, you start to witness subtle yet powerful changes in how you carry yourself through the world. You begin to walk with a sense of peace that cannot be easily shaken, because you are no longer dependent on external conditions to determine your internal state. You realize that real peace comes from alignment, not circumstances, from connection, not control, from trust, not certainty. You notice that your reactions become softer. You no longer respond to challenges with frustration or fear, but with curiosity and patience. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is this moment shaping within me?" That single shift changes everything. It transforms challenges into stepping stones and obstacles into invitations. You stop feeling like life is working against you and start recognizing that life is actually working for you in ways you couldn't see before. Every situation carries a hidden gift, a hidden message, a hidden piece of the plan. And when you start your day grounded in hope and purpose, you are able to perceive those gifts with greater clarity. You begin to see patterns. Cycles that once confused you now make sense. Decisions that once created anxiety now become obvious. Paths that once felt uncertain now unfold with ease. It's not because life suddenly becomes perfect. It's because you become aligned. Alignment changes everything. It shifts how you speak, how you think, how you perceive the world around you. It shifts how you treat yourself. You begin to move with more compassion toward your own journey. You stop punishing yourself for what you did not know in the past. You stop judging yourself for the detours you took or the mistakes you made. Instead, you recognize that every version of you, even the versions you outgrew, were part of the path that brought you here. There is never a moment wasted. God's plan is spacious enough to include your mistakes, strong enough to override your missteps, and compassionate enough to hold your humanity. And as you internalize this truth, the burden of regret begins to lift. The weight of self-criticism loosens its grip. You stop carrying the heavy armor you once thought you needed to protect yourself from disappointment, abandonment, or failure. You begin to walk lightly, freely, openly. You begin to trust again, not blindly but spiritually. Trust becomes a choice, not a risk. You understand that everything unfolds according to a higher intelligence, one far greater than anything you could orchestrate on your own. This trust allows you to move into each day with a sense of partnership. You no longer feel like you are navigating life alone. You feel accompanied. You feel guided. You feel witnessed. There is a comfort in knowing that you are not the sole architect of your destiny. You are co-creating your path with the one who already sees the future you cannot yet imagine. This divine companionship becomes the foundation of your confidence. And something beautiful happens when you start living with this awareness. You feel less attached to outcomes. You don't cling to specific timelines. You don't force things to happen. You don't panic when something takes longer than expected. You understand that what is meant for you cannot be rushed, and what is not meant for you cannot be held. You begin to release the compulsive need to control. You stop gripping so tightly to your plans, your expectations, your ideal scenarios. You loosen your hold on the limited narrative you once believed was the only path. And in that loosening, you create space for the plan to unfold in ways that surpass your expectations. This space is where miracles happen. This space is where the impossible becomes possible. This space is where divine timing reveals itself. And because your heart is open, you are able to receive these blessings without fear or doubt. You start witnessing moments that feel perfectly orchestrated, encounters, opportunities, ideas, blessings that arrive with a sense of divine precision. These moments remind you that nothing in your life is random. Everything is connected. Everything is part of a larger tapestry. As you grow in awareness, you also become more protective of your inner world. You start noticing which conversations drain your spirit, which environments disturb your peace, which habits pull you away from the plan. You begin making choices that support your growth, rather than sabotage it. You set boundaries not out of anger, but out of self-respect. You walk away from what no longer resonates, not out of avoidance, but out of clarity. You surround yourself with people who nurture your faith, not feed your fears. Your inner circle becomes more intentional, more aligned, more spiritually compatible. And because of this, you begin experiencing relationships differently. You no longer beg for love, validation, or approval. You no longer chase what is inconsistent. You no longer shrink yourself to fit into places that no longer honor your evolution. Instead, you stand in your truth and allow people to meet you there. Those who align with your growth will stay. Those who are not meant for your next chapter will naturally drift away. You stop trying to force connections and start allowing connections. You understand that divine alignment extends to relationships too. But this inner journey also brings healing to places within you that have been silent for years. Old wounds begin to rise to the surface, not to break you but to free you. Pain that you once avoided becomes a portal for liberation. You realize that healing is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. It is not a sign of brokenness. It is a sign of readiness. And as you allow healing to unfold, you discover versions of yourself you had forgotten. Your courage, your creativity, your sensitivity, your resilience, your innocence, your joy. Healing is not always gentle. Sometimes it stretches you. Sometimes it challenges you. Sometimes it asks you to revisit memories you tried to bury. But when you begin your day rooted in the promise of hope and a future, you no longer shy away from healing. You face it with grace, trusting that every layer you release brings you closer to the person you are destined to become. Healing becomes a form of alignment, a form of surrender, a form of sacred preparation. This preparation expands your capacity to receive. You begin to dream more boldly. You begin to envision a life that mirrors the truth of who you are, not the limitations of who you once thought you were. You allow yourself to desire bigger things, not from ego, but from alignment. You begin to embrace the idea that God's plan for your life is not small. It is not limited. It is not restricted by your past, your upbringing, your fears, or your mistakes. It is expansive, abundant, and purposeful. And the more you align with this truth, the more your dreams begin to evolve. They become less about survival and more about fulfillment. Less about proving yourself and more about expressing yourself. Less about chasing and more about becoming. You begin seeing your gifts differently. What once felt ordinary now feels sacred. What once felt small now feels significant. You begin recognizing that every talent, every skill, every insight you carry is part of your purpose. You begin to feel called to use these gifts, not just for your benefit, but for the benefit of others. You understand that your life is not just about personal success. It is about contribution. It is about impact. It is about service. Your gifts were given to you because the world needs something that only you can offer. And as this understanding deepens, you begin to move through life with a sense of responsibility. Not heavy, not burdensome, but sacred. A responsibility to honor your calling, to nurture your gifts, to show up fully, to walk in alignment, to live with intention. This responsibility does not weigh you down. It lifts you. It gives your life meaning. It gives your steps direction. It gives your journey purpose. You begin to sense that every morning is an opportunity, a chance to step deeper into the plan, deeper into your purpose, deeper into your spiritual identity. You start valuing your mornings differently. You start protecting them. You begin choosing peace over distraction, reflection over chaos, alignment over noise. Your mornings become the foundation upon which your entire day rests. And because you begin your day with clarity, the rest of the day follows suit. You no longer feel scattered or fragmented. You feel grounded. And when challenges do arise, and they will, you meet them from a place of strength rather than fear. You face them with calm rather than panic. You navigate them with wisdom rather than confusion. The promise becomes your confidence. Your hope becomes your shield. Your faith becomes your guide. You understand that challenges are not signs of misalignment. They are opportunities for growth, for refinement, for deeper trust. Even uncertainty begins to feel different. Instead of triggering anxiety, it becomes a space where possibility lives. Instead of creating fear, it creates wonder. Instead of feeling like a threat, it feels like an invitation, a blank canvas for God's plan to paint something beautiful. You stop needing to see every detail before moving forward. You stop delaying your growth in fear of the unknown. You begin walking with faith as your compass. And this way of living, this way of seeing the world becomes a lifestyle. It becomes the rhythm of your soul. You move through life with a heart that is open, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that is aligned. You live with intention, speak with purpose, and act with clarity. You become a vessel through which divine wisdom flows. Your presence becomes a reflection of hope. And so, as you stand here now, breathing in the quiet certainty of your own becoming, remember that nothing in your life is random. Every step that brought you here, every wound that softened you, every disappointment that redirected you, every delay that protected you, every longing that stretched you, and every hope that refused to die inside you has been part of a far greater orchestration than your human eyes could ever perceive. You were never wandering without guidance. Your path has always been held in the hands of a loving God who crafts purpose out of what once felt purposeless, and who shapes destiny from the very moments you once questioned the most. Let this be the moment you finally release the weight of old stories that no longer serve your expansion. Let this be the moment you decide that nothing in your past disqualifies you from the future God is preparing. Lift your eyes from what has been and look toward what is unfolding. You are not being asked to understand every detail, only to trust that every detail is infused with intention. You are not being asked to see the full plan, only to walk with the one who designed it. There is a new chapter waiting for you, one written with a tenderness and wisdom far beyond anything your mind could construct on its own. A chapter where your peace is not fragile, where your confidence is not borrowed, where your hope is not conditional, and where your purpose is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you embody. And as you step into that chapter, you will discover that every limitation you believed was holding you back was, in truth, a doorway waiting for your willingness to walk through. Live with that willingness. Wake each morning with the awareness that the same God who shaped the galaxies has shaped your path with equal care. Embrace the day, not with fear of what may happen, but with faith in what cannot be undone. His plans for you are good, they are deliberate, and they are unfolding even now. Trust in the timing, trust in the redirection. Trust in the silence, trust in the stirring within your spirit that whispers, "You were made for more." Carry this truth with you and let it become the lens through which you see your life. You are not here by accident. You are not moving without purpose. You are not hoping in vain. There is a divine plan hovering above your days, weaving meaning through every breath, guiding you toward a future that has already been blessed. When you take your next step, whatever it may look like, take it knowing that heaven moves with you, supports you, surrounds you, and champions you. Your life is guided, your path is sacred, your future is secure, and the one who promised to prosper you has not changed his mind. Walk forward with courage, with expectancy, and with a heart open wide to the extraordinary ways God is about to fulfill his plans in your life. The best is not behind you. It is rising, unfolding, and waiting for you to claim it.